Because so many students start believing things, and then when I start really pressuring them to tell me, why do you think this, why do you believe this, it's just an assumption that popped into their head based on what they saw on social media.
Yeah.
So I think social media by itself is not the main cause of all this issue. I think it's how people don't understand the influence it possibly has on them. Some people say that your social media and other media has a real direct influence. That's never been proven, by the way. This is why we have to do stats and other quant studies more, by the way, because many people like to say, you watch violence, you will be violence. I played GTA at the age of 13 years old.
Me too. Yeah.
I chased people with a chainsaw in the game, but I never got the idea that I should do that in real life. Never happened. My parents were not happy that I was playing that at that age, but nothing ever happened. So we have to understand this media influence that we have, because it is, I think, impacting people's expectations. But I think that the more we talk about it, not only here, but everywhere else, I think that we're going to eventually understand not just the influence, but hopefully people will understand that media education is still really important for everyone, not just the people who want to produce media. And hopefully people will also understand that those who produce media have a really important job.
Yeah.
I mean, do you find it ironic that we emphasize, especially here, the STEM and engineering fields? Everyone respects the STEM and engineering fields. We do too, okay? We love the innovations that come from STEM. We don't have a problem with that. What we do have a problem is when people start saying that STEM is the real practical subject. Why study media? You're not going to learn anything from doing media. And it just occurs to me, why do we have all these misinformation issues? Why do we have people not understanding that the stuff in the media is not all 100% real? Why is it that people start stereotyping people with darker skin here, people with non-white skin? LGBT people are also stereotyped. Why does this all happen? Oh, it's because we don't value the media or the media education here. Why is that? Because before anyone starts talking about canceling us for saying this, like, just look at the reality.
Yep.
We're not saying that STEM is not useful. STEM is very useful. STEM is our future. Technology is our future. We don't have a problem with that. What we do have a problem is when society basically says that our major is not so important, not so useful. Media producers do make a lot of money if they do it the right way. Fun fact, this is why Hollywood is a multi-billion-dollar industry. This is why China's media industry is now multi-billion dollars, not just because of Hollywood, but because they understand how important media is. So this is what I just want us all to talk about, is that media education, if we go beyond just testing for communication concepts, theories, and principles, there's something really valuable there that we are trying to teach to those students. So I'm going to pass it over to you. That's my take. But yeah, we like STEM. We just don't like how media is not viewed in the same light as STEM, because both are important.
Yeah, and I mean, if people say like, hey, media, what are you learning in media? Come on, it's so easy and you don't need to study this. Yeah, like you said, who controls what's happening in the world? Who controls how you get your information? Just think about it, right? It's the media. So understanding how the media works, and I think it's just crucial. And the thing is, yes, if you ask someone directly, it's like, hey, do you believe everything that you see in the media? If you ask them like this, they probably say, no, I don't believe everything that's happening in the media, but that's because you asked them directly. If you would look at their behavior, it would be totally different. While if you actively think about it, okay, actively, I know not everything is true in the media, but no one does that actively, especially non-media students. average Joe watches something on channel 3, and it's like, oh yeah, and then you see it again and again and again and again, and eventually you just remember it, even though you would know better, but because you don't understand how the media works, yeah, it still influences you. What you said earlier, it's not this strong influence. Hey, advertising, go by. It's like seeing it again and again and again and again and again, and then eventually it has influence over you without you even noticing. And I think that's also the big problem. I mean, we saw it with the election in the US. We saw the elections everywhere. In Germany, we see it everywhere, that how the media influences the public opinion. And that's just because people don't understand how it works. That's why so many people I know, and for you maybe the same thing, they watched The Social Network on Netflix, or what was that other social media movie that came out like last year that everybody watched, when I said, of course, that's how Facebook works and how Facebook is using your data. Why don't you know that? And everybody else in my circle of friends was like, oh my God, Facebook is evil. Like, for us media people, we know that, but the average person doesn't know that. And that's terrible that they don't know that. And that's why media studies are so important. Not only for the producers, yes, for them as well, but they want to be in this field. But for the average person out there, to understand that there are other forces at play that try to influence you. And even you saying, I'm smart enough. Yes, you're smart, but you cannot fight it. It's like this, this force you can't fight. And that's why media studies are just so important, because media is not going anywhere. It's not going away. It's, in fact, the opposite. It's getting stronger. You consume more media than ever. And that's the simple fact why you have to understand it.